how to decide on your topic, your focus, your niche. In the article that I read earlier, the advice they give was find one thing you really love and enjoy doing, and then make your content around that. That's number one. Number two, if you can't figure out what your niche is, or you have too many things going on that you enjoy doing, then try them all until you find one that you really enjoy creating and that adds value to your viewers and followers. So I don't exactly 100% agree with this advice. This advice is great if you plan on creating content just as a hobby or as just something fun to do in your free time. This is not good advice, however, if you plan to turn your content creation into something that can be eventually a money-making enterprise, right? So let me know, for those of you that are watching on TikTok and on YouTube, if you are someone who's interested in content creation, are you interested in being a content creator because as a hobby, something fun to do in your free time? Or are you hoping to somehow, eventually, some way make money from it? Let me know. I see some questions in the comments on TikTok about views and such. We're not going to talk about that right now because a lot of times the reason why people aren't getting views is because they haven't chosen the right niche. And you'll understand more as I go on. But I'm gonna really try to stay on track and just talk about finding your niche. But I need to say this. There are a lot of misconceptions out there about how content creators actually become successful. And I'm talking about who you would call influencers, how they make their money, how much money there is to be made. And I think universally the thought is sometimes, I'll just create some content. I'll just grow a following, and then somehow I'm going to start making the big money like all these other influencers I see online. And nothing could be further from the truth. I hate to burst your bubble, but it's for this reason that I think that the one important step in choosing a niche that you should not skip, it doesn't need to be the first step, but the one important step you shouldn't skip is thinking about how you're going to be able to monetize your content, your audience, your platforms. And by monetize, let's just break it down. How are you going to make money from it? How are you going to create an income from this? And there are a bunch of different ways you can create this income. I'm not going to be talking about, I'll tell you a little bit further down, like different ways, but how are you going to support yourself while you're creating content? Well, let's talk about this from my point of view, because I'd like to really use myself as an example because I'm the creator that I know best. Before I got into the social media strategy business, I had several different interests, still do, passions, so to speak. I love to cook. I love keeping things organized. I love dabbling in minimalism and simplifying my lifestyle. And I love social media. Okay, talk about me. I said I love to cook. I love keeping things organized. I love dabbling in minimalism and simplifying my lifestyle. And I also love social media. So when you're out here consuming content on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, you see all of these types of content, right? And some of these types of content look really, really fun to create. Now, personally, I'm not looking to create content as a hobby just because I love it. I want to be compensated for it in some way. You know what I'm saying? The saying goes, do something you love and you never have to work a day in your life, right? Well, I'm all about that. Okay, step one, we're going to talk about the steps in choosing your niche. So hopefully all of you have been asking me about niche, you're tuned in, or you can watch the replay and follow these steps. And honestly, these steps are not steps that you have to follow in order. It may not be a linear process. What you need to do is just to be sure that you've considered all of the steps that I'm going to talk about when it comes to deciding on your niche. So step one, what do you love? What do I love? What am I passionate about? What can I talk about all day long and not get tired of? So I gave you my list: cooking, organizing, minimalism, social media, probably some more, but those are just 4 we're going to deal with. Okay, next step, which of these topics am I really good at? Now, I don't have to be the world's leading expert, but I do need to have a fair amount of knowledge about it. So if I had to rate my own list, I would probably put cooking first, then social media, then organization, and then minimalism. Okay, moving on to the next step, step 3. Thinking about these different types of content, what kind of content is easier or attainable for me to create? I mean, I already know that cooking content and filming cooking content is dang hard because I actually tried it when I was a personal chef. Hats off to my cooking creators. It is really, really difficult, in my opinion, to cook, film, talk, and do all the things at the same time. So scratch that off my list. If you are someone who this type of content, you've figured out some hacks and you can easily create it, then by all means, go for it. But this is just for me, right? So, next step. This is the step I was talking about before. How can I monetize it? Well, if I had left cooking on my list, perhaps I could sell a cookbook. But I have to sell a lot of cookbooks to make any real money. Well, maybe I could teach an online cooking class. Fun fact, I actually tried that years ago before I was ever on YouTube. It didn't work out. Maybe it would work out these days with all the tools and technology that we have. But back then, it just, no. Okay, let's move on to my next passion, organizing. Maybe, how would I monetize that? Maybe I could create some digital guides, some lists, some checklists, an app, something like that. Okay, same for minimalism and living a simple life. I could maybe create something digital that people would want to buy that could help them with their process of downsizing or minimalizing simplifying their life. Okay, how about social media? Oh, there is a lot to know about how to succeed with social media. And I know that like the back of my hand. Now, I could teach people about that. And I could definitely charge a lot more per person than if I was just selling them a cookbook. You see how that process works? That thought process works? So think about the monetization sooner than later.